I'm a Dead Sea Scroll researcher. I've been kind of annoyed. I've been utilizing this Facebook channel to calculate Earth history and kind of run through all of my research and data as to what happened to this internet in the year 2020, where we have a 6,000 year cult teaching on this internet. In the year 2020, we have a 6A. I'll try not to yell too much. In the year 2020, we have the lowest hanging fruit of what is wrong with religion. What is wrong with religion? Pretty simple, easy to follow along with. Easy. What's wrong with you? You think we have 6,000 year legend. We have 6,000 year teaching systems, buildings all over the place, and your children don't know how to write the Bible. That's what's wrong. You have a single manuscript with a 6,000 year deductive that your children don't know who wrote which line of. And so they don't know if they can trust you in teaching the pastors. And you're not trustable people because you kept a compartmentalized 6,000 year legend Messiah book. And you as human beings not recognizing who Jesus was. Jesus did not preach a sermon. Jesus never preached, never taught a sermon, never preached in any different way. He would sit there and chastise his guys. He would sit there, but he'd sit with them and he'd talk with them. And he was never up in front of a group of people. People came to him because he healed them. And they waited patiently and they gathered and congregated and they mingled. And he had 12 people helping him. Hey, help. His disciples were his students, just like I'm instructing to you, preachers. No, you're not disciples. Whatever you made up with that word, people following you aren't disciples. They're following you, teaching your legend, and your legend should have began. Hey, I didn't know I was supposed to be born because I'm kind of in hell because I think God magically poofed me 6,000 years ago. Can you help correct me from that? Is what each and every fucking pastor needed to do. The messing with the book that had invalid authorship, invalid writing, invalid comprehensive awareness in all world history, invalid, kids, invalid. So the Dead Sea Scrolls came around, and what happened with them? Well, you invalidated the internet by not even thinking about that one. Israel, shame the fuck on you. How'd you get up to? You kept a series of 6,000 year detectives, and you didn't go back into your own authorship. You immature children. You kept the Bible in this sealed up. I don't understand what it said. What did it actually say? It said, don't lose Torah. It told you the Dead Sea Scrolls were lost. It told you who put them where. Well, Judas helped, and Saul helped, and Saul caught them when they were going to the empty cave. You won't find scrolls in because Saul had pilfered one of the 10 caves, and you got 9. Then another one was pilfered by Thomas, and then you got 8.5, and then another one was pilfered. So you had to know that in Earth history, because that left you in the way out there of keeping a 6,000 year Earth deductive legend that was you're in hell for being so immoral, incompetent with the Dead Sea Scrolls, with the written word itself. With the written word. The word became flesh and dwelt among you. What did that mean? Word became flesh. Jesus, you didn't understand word of him. He was a master. He was a soft-spoken guy, never preached a sermon, and he was nefarious. He was a don't trust those guys. They're teaching you a legend, and he would correct them. And he was taking record of the temple grounds, Greek infiltration. Jesus himself, Greek to English, is a Greek to English transliteration, foolish mistake. You took a Greek false messiah. You took Christianity, took a weird Greek legend that they kept translating into English and called it holy and sacred. And the church in Rome, with their invalidation of they didn't translate that book correctly. Come on, with the Catholic Apocrypha, and you guys say it doesn't belong in the Bible, but it's already there, so you're impotent and moral incompetence. So 81 books over there, and 81 book Ethiopic Tawahido. That's the orthodoxy you needed to observe. You're not promoting it. I'm pulpit preaching. Your pulpit preaching is a sin. It is ignorant. It is not teaching. It is puppeting performance, and it's teaching occult, stupid, immature legend. You're preaching a lie, and you're preaching a false messiah, saying you know something about some books you barely even know. Oh, you went to school. Good for you. Yeah, no, you didn't. You have no education in seminary. You're all, what happened to me? What happened to you is you're too dumb to read words, seminary students. You went too far. You went too far. Oh, we kept to 6,000s. Yeah, you kept to 6,000s. Good for you, fucking 25% of the United States who invalidated FAA. FAA, how do you feel about that? Christians invalidated their brains. You invalidated the Bible by believing in it. Said something it didn't say. It didn't have God in it. So you invalidated your religion by taking God out of the Bible at John 1:18. Bible invalid. On and off, Bible invalid. Ben David, Sparky, fuck. You fucked up the internet in 99, kids. You had the technology to pull yourself asses out of your brain deads, but you kept a cult legend, and it wasn't quite yet apparent that NASA caught up to pop culture and provided 4.543 billion years as their furthest out estimate. However, in 1859, up to then, practically the whole world believed in your stupid internet, foolish, greedy $22 trillion expense to the United States, your broken education systems. World. The Americas are so stupid with the 6,000-year earth deductive churches, and they don't know where their book says that they took their book out of the schools so they can argue and watch TV. Israel, shame the fuck on you, you immoral incompetence. You received the Dead Sea Scrolls. You could have read it then. 4Q377 surpassed the entire Bible. God and Moses face to face surpassed the entire Bible, kids. You passed over the Dead Sea Scrolls, children. You passed over the Dead Sea Scrolls, pastors. You got lumped, you forgot the age of the earth. You passed over all scientific. That didn't happen because there's a picture of something that primordial ooze. You've been in this primordial ooze state of existence, and you're all competencies that 1-year-olds with Dr. Bible in your schools. It'll take 1,000 years for you guys to actually recover and to become like me. To stop breeding and actually look at the blood of your daughters and actually care, live a celibate life, live a harmonious sexual life, however you do it. Krishna consciousness is something you obtain, something you work for, and something you strive for. I have Krishna consciousness. What's Krishna consciousness? It's a promissory note of, hey, there's a little voice inside of your head that you can make work better for you. Oh, wow. make work better for you that the false Messiah was talking about and told you about, and how to make work better for you. He said in prayer, in prayer, in prayers, through ritual meditation. I'm always looking for refining what you're responding to, who you're listening to. Well, right now you're listening to children, animals. The earth is not yet grown up. You're all immoral incompetence with evolution. The earth is not yet grown up. You couldn't figure out why the United States, too ignorant, stupid, derived $22 trillion in debt and called it wise. That's no wisdom, you ignorant, stupid Senates and Congress who immediately after your grade 8 President Trump helped you out with the wall. You morons, you senile fucktards. America, world, watch out for this country. Stop sending your people over here. Stop. They're dumb. They can't look themselves in their own faces and know how stupid they are, and how then you call their schools educations. No. Yes, it is. However, their education is so broken that they're just like, oh, go out and do. Competency of a 1-year-old American. You still have shit going down your legs with 6,000 years stupid churches in place. You have no physics. You have no real science. You have, hey, let's fuck with metallurgy. Nothing more. Your mathematics and your basic physics and your basic computer basic, what you have right now is simple, basic compared to what you're going to have in 200 years. And you know that as a human being, not great ape. You knew that 200 years from now, what is going to be your menstrual pattern as a bleeding grade ape menstrual pattern from 1610 data showed to you the 1611 King James Version of the Bible, where Grandma Eve was 130 years of age before she gave birth to Grandpa Seth, 6,000 years away from me. Work with reality, not grade 8. Your pastor's a cult moron. He's 6,000 years away from something too. It might be 10,000 years away from Australian Aboriginal. It might be, it might be 20,000 years away from Neolithic settlement over in Hungary. It might be, but he's too dumb to notice that one. So in Washington State, where the pastors are too dumb to notice that one, the Pangea being a real thing, and you're just so immoral, incompetent, left in hell, way out there with your cult organization, 6,000 year earth cap legend. You broke the book. You broke everything. Your doctrines, your false covenants, everything. Great apes. Oh, yeah, there's older than 6,000. No, it's not. We can't handle science. We can't handle observation. We can't figure out what the hell's came from. Fucking more competent in Washington State with 9,200-year-old fossil remains, stupid retards. How old is the Grand Canyon? It's really old. It's not as old as you think. But now on a paper in Nature Geoscience offers possible compromise. Yes, the Colorado River has been carving the Grand Canyon for nearly 6 million years. Yep. Okay, but it is flowing through the canyon that date back about 70 million years. Yep. Call it Mother Nature's recycling effect. You notice how all of the Mother Nature, yeah, Mama, Grandmother Sky, Grandfather Earth, or Grandmother that. So Neolithic, 9,200-year-old fossil remain who never walked all this way over here, but they did have. Let's go, Colorado Neolithic Christianity. Close your churches. 6,000-year prehistory of Colorado. Give you a little bit right there, you morons. Prehistory of Colorado provides an overview of the activities that occurred prior to Colorado's Neolithic Revolution. I wonder when that one. Let's go. List of Neolithic revolutions. Yeah, Neolithic cavemen grew up to be Christians. Residential is it drainage? Okay. List of prehistoric sites in Colorado includes historic and archaeological sites of humans from the earliest times in Colorado, just before the Colorado Historic period, which ranges from about 12,000 BC to AD 19th century. Wow. So they put it all together in one thing that's perfect. The period is defined by the culture enjoyed at the time from the earliest hunter-gatherers, which is you were Neolithic cave people, just like naked tribes hunting monkeys, and look at how they did. The Paleo Indians, who were for real, 9,200-year-old Paleo Indian, and just the same, but not the same, fertile with, but not the exact same, made independently different by God, who went in, down, up, down, walked on this planet, said fuck you to Christianity through the prehistoric parents to the modern Native Americans. There were more than 56,500 recorded prehistoric sites in Colorado by 1996. So we'll have to, that's a good one. Prehistoric sites in Colorado. Let me go put this on my Facebook page. Prehistoric sites in Colorado. I don't want to do a lot of work. Just tell you guys that you broke the internet. You kept a legend. Okay, 6 years you kept a legend. Breaking the internet. The Boulder 3,500 to 3,300 BC multi-component state. So Colorado, we're sorry for your churches. So this is correct, good data. However, where you have your break between 4,000 and 3,300 BC, you're 700 years off right there. And so all your prior data is lost to great apes. Sorry about that, kids. And false legend that the churches are collapsing. The nearby you residential. So here 1699 BC AD. Then we got writing. Good job, fucktards. 13th century, 6499 to 1000 BC. Then you got writing, fucktards. Ancient Pueblo, 1100 to 1300. When you got writing, you fucktards. Late 12th century, early 13th century. Then you got writing, you fucktards. 1499 to 9000 BC camp. Then you got writing, you fucktards. You humans, you're all the same. The 12th century, earliest 13th century. Then you got writing, you fucktards. 3985 to 505 Plains Woodland. When you got writing, you fucktards. 1150 year race that you didn't do anything after. You got writing, you fucktards. Indians, you got specially endowed with writing, and the Americans are too stupid to keep a legitimate age of the earth for what you, when they provided you writing with Native America. I'm sorry. The Christians are too dumb. They scalped heads, and they didn't respect and care about the Native American. Kennewick man, 9,200 years old fossil remain. Let's cut off Jimmy Swaggart's balls with that one. Cool. Kennewick man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain, you impotent Christians. Australian Aboriginal, you impotent humans, not great apes. Where'd you come from? Well, give us a little bit better history to the United States. Ignorant stupids, I'll explain to you. Adam and Eve were not there. But they were. And for 20,000 years, Adam and Lilith were in and out, but then they served them. And in the meantime, they'd fly up to Washington State and sit along the Columbia River and just enjoy the beautiful sunset as they looked out to the Red Road down in the Columbia River before they put the dams there, and they just fly around, and they did. So, casting the way out there, so you don't understand a book you don't have. You have a legend in the Bible. A 6,000-year legend that turned off at just that one. You have no book. You have false messiah. You have a good set of instructions to not become you. But nothing else. Don't lose the age of the earth or you'll miss the Dead Sea Scrolls, kids, the wicked and the holy. For guilt with the congregation of this people, taking God out of his book. I thank thee, O Lord, for putting him back into his book and catching a cult and turning them off and explaining that they have no brain. For thou hast redeemed my soul from the pit. You are in hell. You're so fucking delusional with your magic poof 6,000 year. That's just incompetence. Next to look at the hills. When could I not trust geology? Well, when they were still trying to figure out shit. You couldn't figure shit out. You could figure out words, and these came about, and they didn't know they had anything to do with you being cast to hell. So thou didst open his fountain, that he might rebuke the creature of clay for his way. Jimmy Swagger, you're a lump of clay. You're a golem. You're a golem. Every human being, grade 8 golem. Let's stop being hunched over gay people like Super K Boy in the movie Alpha, and like your grade apes over all your homosexual grade apes on The Big Bang Theory. I'm Bunny. There's no intelligence in that. You teach your children through cartoons and shit. Yeah, except rather than handwriting Torah, so they don't know the words of the Bible. Two badly fragmented copies of wisdom comprised composition portrayed the behavior of the righteous man in universal terms. Let's see how you fucked up. A faithful man shall not depart from his ways of righteousness. So you're taking God out of the Bible was the most lost that little brain thing. You lost it, didn't have one in that era. When they we're following a legend and not seeing it. We can squeeze science into it. Yeah, you squeeze $22 trillion of stupid America. World, stay away from this country. World, this is the most ignorant, stupid country with church after church after church after church with the legend. And world, fuck you guys for not working with Israel, you've been in hell with this. You received these from the Dead Sea Scroll collection that Jesus put there for you morons who told you couldn't figure out, did that to you. Israel. Jesus, real guy, you knew he was real. We're waiting for him to come back. He didn't complete anything. You're right. He movies out there. You're waiting for me to come and put them back. He didn't do anything for you, but take these from you. My arms is torn from its socket, so he was making very deliberate choice in what he was moving out into the come on, is Israel. Shame on you. When the king hears of any nation or people intent on plundering whatever belongs to Israel, he shall send for the captains of thousands and captains of hundreds posted in the cities of Israel. All of the world is Israel, you stupid retards. The entire world, Israel, you're one thing. Where'd you come from? We grew up from great apes. Yeah, we know you're stupid. I am 6,000 years away from Seth, no great ape and me, you morons. Welcome to the OTO. You're so stupid. Israel, sending Australia out to knock your teeth out. Fuck. OTO, come on, pick up. You did a good job in Auschwitz. Germany did a good job with their little part. But however, we need to clean up. Now we'll take care of the you guys fucked up at Bible imprint. Israel, a book you couldn't interpret. The Americas can't interpret. Russia received. I have to take it from Russia because I put it there in 92. And I found out it was a false document. I worked with it for 13 years. So sorry, Israel. And Russia. You guys know better. You're smarter than the Americans. And they know they are. But they're still working on a bunch of dumbs. And Russia, slow down. Turn everyone off. Everyone in the world needs to turn off and look at what you don't know. Turn off. It's finished. Revelation 16, verse 17, you don't know the Bible was an invalid. Turn off. Revelation 16, 17, you didn't understand that the Bible was invalid. The Bible did not contain God in your false interpretations of the Bible. Religion, that's turn off Facebook. The 2020 religious systems are invalid so badly with the false Messiah that is enough to say, hey guys, taking God out of the Bible in Leviticus and Deuteronomy and Exodus and Numbers and not understanding those words broke your brains, cast you in the way out there. God, Moses face to face is the only way to interpret that Bible. So that cult over there having no brain took God out of the Bible. Invalidated the entire internet, kids. Invalidated your birth certificate. Invalidated your belief systems. Nice job, kids. Taking God out of the Bible by interpreting the Bible wrong. Falsifying a reason to be born. Falsifying a reason to have a book. Falsifying a reason to have anything. A job. A lie about an education. Yeah, I learned a legend from the 1500s. It got worse. You don't do anything that used to do, and they never once preached. It just got molded out, clayed out. It's worse. During during 1930, the preaching wasn't anything similar. During 1810, they used to have community meetings together and community business. They would have, there's our teacher guy for, hey, what should we do with the schools? And they had the Bible in their schools. Age of the Earth never questioned. Always had been, we're going to learn more. Age of the Earth, never a question, always had been, you're going to learn more. Always. Authorship of everything. You're going to learn the authorship of the Bible, and you didn't know it. Age of the Earth. You didn't understand one word in the Bible. We have to make everything new because you kept the entire Bible as a legend, kids. Age of the Earth. You kept the Bible as an entire legend up through to the year 2020. Age of the Earth. Grab at your church. They're invalid. All of them. Puff on the Pope from gotquestions.internetcult.org for giving you an invalid book. New Jerusalem Bible, and you're not reading it. Pope, you moron. He needs it. That church system needs to retire. It's been in existence too long. And with the modern occasions of priests raping boys, that's pull your heads out of your asses, stupid Americans. In your church systems, in your school systems, in your Christian schools and your Christian bullshit families, witnessed during the 80s, during the 90s, 4 to 6 girls sexually abused by brothers, by uncles, by fathers out of 10 in Christian communities, and you call that good. That's yet another reason to collapse your church systems, because you are an immoral, incompetent group of pastors. You're expired human beings. You're gone. Your elders, you are too gone with that. Nasty. You've only been taught a legend your entire life. Seminary students are worthless to you. They've only been taught a legend their entire life. Pope is worthless to you. Only been taught a legend his entire life. President is worthless to you. Only been taught a legend his entire life. Teachers worthless to you. Only studied a legend their entire life. 500 years, no one gave a shit about that length of time you had legitimate writing and where it came from. The phonetic use of it, that little voice in your head, you sound out words with, you immoral, incompetent Christians, that you sound out words with, that you're reading from a page after the year 3500 BC, when you did not evolve written script, rather Neolithic etchings. They had paper. They didn't have script, though. They used it for different things. They even made clay coinage. The Neolithics even made clay coinage, to which you in the year 2020 have credit cards with writing on them, and you invalidated the FAA CFR 191 by believing God magically poofed the earth 6,000 years ago. You're so immoral and incompetent. Christianity. You are an immoral, incompetent cult. You are a pulpit performance blah, but we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Kept the legend of the book. The Word became flesh type. Kept the legend of the book. Dead Sea Scrolls. Word became flesh. God walked among you. Said, hey, what did he say? And he will not do his deedly by weighing it. So you had October 23, 4004 BC, false. You went back in your legends, you weighed it. You had approximately 6,000 years, false. So you didn't go back in your legends and weighed it. You went to your false seminaries who were false, brain dead stupids who evolved elsewhere, and you couldn't correct that. 1859, you couldn't correct anything you've ever done. You've never once corrected anything scientific, either legitimate or illegitimate. Which is why you have hell. Which is why you have both. You've never once corrected anything illegitimate. The only way to describe the Moses' 120 year, by the way, is and you took God out of the Bible, by the way, and you didn't understand a single word of the Bible, by the way, is to just never let you touch the Bible again. It is Moses was 120 years. Christians got left in the way out there by not understanding 2 verses in Torah. Good job, Israel. Good job, Pope. Where'd your church come from? God and Moses spoke face to face. Moses wrote shit down for the Pope to retire at and pop his little, he doesn't know what he's talking about. That is a medieval church, Pope. It's been a medieval church its entire generation. Pope. What are you good for? Well, I accepted evolution, so I was helping. No, not the way it worked. When did the church provide a false document? When did the church provide a false origin of use of the documents? When did the church miss the Dead Sea Scrolls? Pope, take off your hat. When did? After the year 1666. Easy data to remember because you had to read it in wisdom. So what are all these people doing on YouTube providing, not YouTube, Wikipedia, a wiki source Bible with God in it and no big warning flag saying, hey, stay away from me because I don't know I'm right here. And you kind of need God and Moses spoke face to face on everything you ever saw in printing and said you shouldn't have evolved from grade 8 because of that one. However, you got Jesus because you did evolve from grade 8. And he told you so. It's a really, really, really nasty, fucked up conundrum that you put yourselves in with you pass over the first record of writing, 3500 BC. Christians, you went way too far out there, kids. They kept a legend that was expired in 99. This legend, 4 directions of the world, each standing watchful over Israel. They're called lattices. You see, there's a lot more poetry into understanding that you were left in hell than not. 12, he pierced through the lattice. And the 12, they called windows. So what this recorded bullshit that this rabbi who needs to retire put into the book that's about me taking the Bible from you, told me to tell you to fuck off with God out of your Bible over there and you in hell over here because you have a cult organization over there. You see, that's Cabal bouncing around like a ping pong ball. There's 12. This was Shir HaShirim, so that's what? Song of Solomon in bracketed bullshit format of a great ape who doesn't know what the legitimate age of the earth. Pastor, preacher, moron. Except this was the rabbi who wrote this. So shame on you, Berg. It didn't correct. It even has all of this prophecy about success in the earth, legends in the United States as well, and he fucked up. For there is the reason it is written. And after the year 3500 BC, the Jews really fucked you up into this chamber because they didn't understand the Dead Sea Scrolls. Sorry, Christian. Drop the age of the earth. First record writing fucked you over. You've never once understood your book. There is a spirit in this chamber who rules everything. He is called Robert. Never once understood your book. Thanks, guys. Mercy is the secret of the holy name, Eleph Kaf Dalet Mem. I'll tell you more about that later, which is the secret of the letters of Elohim. Elohim, work with that. Stop using the one with the letter G in it, and especially the letter J, Jehovah one. You can see it in print. It won't break your brain like Jesus will, but stop using the letter J because of the false Messiah relationship. You're too immoral and incompetent to understand that. And left in the way out there's left in the way out there's left in the without God on your driver's license. Hey, I was born before this date and people didn't know that this verse said this. It left me in the way out there. So my cult church had a book with the legend. The left you in the way out there's kids. Left you in the way out there. So we have this really swell way out there cult website in the year 2020 to go, wow, that's something to put in front of your kids. It's even really baby blue. It's not even mature. You see how immature that cult website is. Typing Great Apes. Yes, we kept a legend over there at Typing Great Apeville. Yeah. And you put in Typing Great Apeville kept a legend. This Wikisource Bible Typing Great Apes, Wikipedia did that for you. And no one taking any accountability for anything. And they put in Darwin, and they didn't put two and two together and come up with at least three. So they just left you in the way out there to do it yourself. But because you couldn't figure out that the earth's older than 6,000 years of age and where you didn't come from, it didn't help you to know anything. The Bible never once helped you. The Bible cast you in the way out there and told you were wrong with it in print. The Bible told you were left in hell with it in print. So let's continue with the Life Application Study Bible. Now let's actually look at some of your false messiahs, right? Skip Saul. Skip the formation you got left in hell. John. But each went on his own to his own home. Bye. Go ahead, write your retirements. But Jesus, 6,000 year helper, went to the Mount of Olives alone. At dawn, he appeared again in the temple courts. At dawn, so he slept up there. There's down at the temple courts. They'd lost the edge of the earth. I better go help them. So no, he was sneaking. He was in the temple in the middle of the night. He left his disciples going scouting it out. So he's down there. He took scrolls out. The teachers of the law and Pharisees brought to a woman caught in adultery. So a church. So he's down there next morning. You caught in the law of adultery. You have a legend of authorship and a legend of your teacher who's looking at you. Oh, can I mate you? And caught in adultery. Church systems, an immoral adultery in 1610 data that told you your blood of your daughters, you immoral and competent Christians, the blood of your daughters, 16.6 years of age in 1610 is accurate. And at the low end, because grandpa's was given birth at 130 years of age. And we have rises in birth defects in Washington State where your doctors expressed some concerns, but they weren't really thinking about that grade 8 children who turned homosexuality into a marriage right. You fucking morons. That was grade apes being stupid. Yeah, you got what you got, so you got it coming. Where all the people gathered around and sat down to teach them. So great apes infiltrated your picture stories of where you didn't come from, and you didn't learn about people. Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain. You write a fictional story about a world peace phenomenon of a guy who doesn't carry a club, and where they weren't. He was really fucking a lot smarter than you, by the way. Animals talk back then. Shared a common language with the common speech. So Kennewick Man, he'd go up to little bunny and, hey, come over here. I want to eat you. And little bunny would say, no. and hop over and purr because like a cat. And because little bunny knew that he was good food and he wanted to be later bunny little bunny gloves for Kennewick Man's daughter. Yeah. Fucking morons. Where do you think you got all that from? Yeah, why? God made the little bunny from the dirt, just like he told you he formed you from the dirt without brains. And start from ground zero. Prayer. Is there any supernal sign from the holiness of certain chambers of the female, facing the supernal grace of the male, comprising each other, so below opposite to holiness? So here's your homosexual pastor, grade A, who male list blubs out, looking at wife. He opened the discussion with the person he brought me there, and behold, there was a man whose appearance was like the appearance of brass with thread of flax. You couldn't understand any words in the Bible. It was all poetry to record in your brain. Fill it with something, but you have nothing because you only have a sixth sense in your earth. You're really stupid. The two pillars on the north side, fill it with something because you're really stupid. The duty is to announce throughout the firmaments of the names of those who prevent their sons from studying the Torah and detain them from being occupied with it. So here you fought really Israel. Why are your children not writing Torah, collapsing the United States? You fucking morons, take away their book. Then all the officers declare, woe to so-and-so. Israel gave you a broken book. Who prevented his son from studying the Torah? So the United States doesn't know what the book says. Woe to him, for he perishes in the world to come. Woe to him, I have to catch you up. The Jimmy Swagger, Jimmy, buddy. No. We understand there's a legend in the book. So this legend I've already figured out. It is a really who wrote which legend. Really long one. And Moses did write 10 more words. So it's on about page 950. You'll see that. To explain that we have no earth history because the Bible had been interpreted, and was falsely collated and falsely retained in all earth history, and the Dead Sea Scrolls went like, we have nothing. We have nothing in Bible except a little Chernobyl. In 86, I think. 86, we had Chernobyl, told you so, after 1947. So you understand, guys. Understand. Be very, very clear and very, very abundant. Ben David, Dead Sea Scroll guy. Dead Sea Scroll. In prophecy, not Jesus. Ben David, Dead Sea Scroll guy, not Jesus. Jesus. Ben Yosef, Dead Sea Scroll guy, went, ooh, what is this? And he read from it, and he took him up to the cave and hid it there. And he spent 3.5 years pilfering scrolls, is what he did. During the remaining 33 years of the war, the men of Renown, who summoned to the assembly together with all the heads of the family of the congregation, shall choose themselves fighting men for all the lands of the nations. So you see what he did? He moved this legend out, and this is how they formulated their false Israel. You don't have a legitimate religion there because you don't have these. You don't have Torah in your schools. Israel. Without you, children, immature children, writing Deuteronomy, taking God and Moses spoke face to face. Moses wrote this down, all the words exactly for you to grow up from at age 5 to 12. In over there, we want you to work over in Islamaville, where you guys were too immoral and incompetent with hijab, with that, to not correct the United States for, hey, you guys are really, 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 really stupid without this book, the Quran, in your school education systems. You need to study the entire history of all historical references into how you didn't understand this. Children. These told you that the Bible was invalid. These told you that the Bible was a piece of apocrypha. Children. These tell you. Israel, shame on you for not telling the United States. It told you so, thus invalidating the entire 6,000-year legend. Depends mainly on the community rule, but reveals Satan's specific name. Malkareshet, my king is wickedness. The counterpart, Melchizedek, my king is justice, chief of the army of light. Light, may God set him apart for evil from the midst of the sons of light, because he has turned away from following him. Having the book, having the Bible, having the legend of Torah, having the book of Deuteronomy put you in the midst of being, having some little Shekinah. But that Shekinah was that cult website took God out of the Bible, so it invalidated the entire Bible. So you have to be picked up and you were left in hell for having done that. In the year 2020, gone way too far with book without these. Book without a consciousness of how it went to those. Those came, Jesus went. Jesus himself, good guy, sat there reading them. Unroll a scroll, like the great Isaiah scroll, which is one of the Dead Sea Scrolls in silk. Great apes can't respect Earth history. The great Isaiah scroll in the Dead Sea Scroll collection was in silk, preserved. And Jesus carried it out there. He had help. It was big one. He had help. He had a lot of help with his 12 men, henchmen. He will pay the reward with burning fire at the hand of, that would be me, those tested in the crucible. He will sharpen his weapons and will not tire until the wicked nations are destroyed. Wicked nations are destroyed. Darwin. Jesus told you were going to turn yourselves into apes. Americans did. Got really, really dumb. Missed it in the Quran, of course, because you don't read. Got even worse. Got even further gone. Sir Isaac Newton. So during the time of the Crusades, when they were going out and crusading and doing that, and then during the 1500s, the Spanish conquistadors, within 50 years of arriving in the New World, Great Ape, 6,000 years kept, New World, 6,000 year legend kept, New World, burned all the books. Good job, Catholics. Pope, you're fired. You have no Earth history because of that bullshit. You're all in hell because of that bullshit. Pope, you're fired. The going on Crusades, sure, you did it. We don't care. You write it down a little bit better. And by the way, we don't have your Earth history with it. By the way, that's part of your retirement. Go back and figure out what you didn't know, moron. How'd you get $22 trillion in stupids following this moron around? Accepting evolution, Darwin, for you, it's on the Big Bang Theory. You're all homosexuals. Good job. grew up from grade 8 to homosexual grade apes. That's where you ended up at in hell at. The far end of the prophetic, wow, Jesus told you not to do this in a false Messiah manuscript of not understanding how to read words after the year 3500 BC. Kids, that single book was a nasty single, not a book. It wasn't a book. The Dead Sea Scrolls are a book, sort of scroll. The entire lineage of everything that Jesus is handwriting in that was you pilfered it from a scroll and you could we got dumber and dumber and dumber. Dumb. You dumbed it down from a 24 by 36 inch scroll that they used to tap, big letters, to Jesus's handwriting. We kept it entirely as a legend 6,000 years ago. We're not reading from the scroll with Jesus's handwriting, but rather we don't really know how. Talking. How did, what's his name? Usher, you fools. And Newton, you fools. You have an invalid college, Trinity College, retaining the Bible and not saying, you know what? We broke the internet during the 1500s. Trinity College. You still teach that legend in England? Of course, you forgot the United States, you kids. You don't care about us. You don't care about Russia. You don't care about Israel. Oh, yeah, we do. No, you don't. Look at how stupid England is. You need a monarchical system over it all. You need a monarchical system, a long-term, no one who fucks with the words of Jesus ever again. No one touches it. No one uses false Messiah's words and teaches them again for 1,000 years. You just don't do it. You don't preach. You don't. Your only value in the year 2020 is to disassemble your church systems into your irrational, misunderstood, consequenced, foolish interpretation of what those verses, what we're teaching Jesus. We're teaching Jesus. We're teaching the Bible. No, you're not. You weren't teaching either. The Bible was the Dead Sea Scrolls pilfered out into you just cherry picking and bracketed bullshit Christians. You just got left in hell cherry picking and bracketing bullshit. It is what you did. Definite, honest to goodness, you're too ignorant to accept how to read those words without false use of them. The New Testament, invalid. Because of 6,000 year deductive legend 500 years ago. Yeah, America, invalid with the New American Standard Version of Apocrypha, invalid. King James Version of the Bible, invalid. All of the Bibles in print in the year 2020 are invalid pieces of Apocrypha, Christians. All of your studies are to go, how did we kind of wiggle them side by side and come up with something a little bit different in each of these differences? You have a fucking world without end, and you have verse after verse after verse after verse that changes when you did that, but you didn't. So you just have cult after cult after cult after cult after cult who utilized it, changed, and such as Jehovah's Witnesses utilizing it, changed, such as Mormons utilizing it, changed, such as the Children's King James Version of the Bible utilizing it, changed, such as Jimmy Swaggart's shit running down his leg 6,000 year earth utilizing it, changed. You kept a legend all the way through the year 2020. Baptist, that was it. Utilizing it, changed. Baptist. start to put some earth history because you only have that you shouldn't have been born. Not with the Bible in print. Invalid. You shouldn't have been born, kids. You only have you should not have been born in the Bible. I'm changing that for my daughter. I'm changing that for my granddaughter. I'm changing that for myself. My grandpa shouldn't have been born. But he has his burial in Hood River, where Kennewick Man, 9,200-year-old fossil remain, and his people have been, and they weren't the same. We knew that already, but they were fertile together, and they traded women on occasion when they got around. So you have various types of, hey, naked tribes monkey hunting. What do? They do these really cool blowpipe things. Really, really special ed engineering for real people to think about. How'd you get rifling in your rifles, you fucking morons? God magically poofed, I got a gun. Good. I need it for protection from what? Yourself. And then something to debate. Wow, you have a gun. Oh, wow, somebody's freaking out about somebody having a gun. Oh, they're gonna. The police have guns. With the Bible, God, Moses face to face. I'm explaining that being taken out of the Bible, interpreted incorrect, is enough to say no more Facebook. That's what the Zohar told you, and is what told me to do. So when you giggle at it like that, take the Bible in and out of print a couple times and let them know that they're way out there with 6,000-year problems. We have to collate and collect all the problems you have, which is your life. 7.7 billion of you are alive and don't know that the Earth is both 6,000 years of age and is not 6,000 years of age. So 75% of you who didn't know that the Earth was 6,000 years of age and followed 4.53 billion years ago. However, in 1859, it was a little bit more like 100. But Sir Isaac Newton and Lord Kelvin and others helped fix that. And you call Sir Isaac Newton the greatest scientist of his time. Why? Because he counted back through a legend and kept it for the religious systems that rather than saying, he went back in the legends and he made sense out of them, but the sense he didn't make sense out of was God. He was a wise man, Sir Isaac Newton. He's a sir. And so what did at this in Trinity College? You kept James Escher. That was a closure point when they had James Escher back in the day, and Sir Isaac Newton back in the day. And you lost that in Earth history, so you lost the 1600s, you lost 1610, you lost the 1611 logic of what formed an invalid book into the Mormon church. Well, you lost that logic, kids. So it's a King James version of the Bible lost logic. Jimmy Swaggart went brain dead also. They couldn't think of his children bleeding. All Christians got cast to hell with that one. All Christians, it's an immoral cult. I'm out to explain to you that your pulpit preaching immorality is just immoral cult behavior, Christians. It is an extreme immorality. It is an immoral cult behavior. Your Sunday congregations, there's two components to that are both invalid, that are both immature, and they're both foolish. The speed, the time, the precision of your Baptist organizations, songs you sing, and your Puritan bullshit, how you go to church in ties. We're not created, we're special. We're following a legend. You do this in your adornment of being elders. You should all be ashamed as elders for not correcting the age of the earth. If you're 70 years old and you kept a legend for your entire life, it needs to be documented in your personal, before you're dead, handwritten note. If you're 30, why would you want to breed? You need to, as children, 130 years. Grandpa Seth, how long did Adam live? 930 years. Jesus himself lived about that same. He was a wandering Jew. He was actually an albino hiding. He was always hiding. Wandering in those stories, sprinkling some wisdom and logos that he's saying they're teaching wrong in the temple, telling them they're teaching it wrong in the temple, while the Greeks having their children shoot in the flower pots around the temple, and so he worked with Titus to have it destroyed. Follow the Greek legend of how then you got some books that you met in some caves. You supposedly then you murdered each other over Crusades, over a fragmentary. We kept a legend book. Made it over on a flat Earth legend, Earth to a young Earth. America, America, you are so dumb. Israel gave you a bad book, America, about legend, and you tried to make sense out of it, and the legend is that the book shouldn't have ever been in print. America. Because you guys kept it at 6,000 year Earth legend, we have to take it at that. Take it at that. In the year 2020, the church interpreted 27 books as 6,000 year Earth legend taught. And we're done. That was a false legend. Then we go back into those 27 books legend taught and lift it up into, or what did the legend intend? So that's what we've done. Why I'm using YouTube from the Dead Sea Scrolls. And what did this is honestly enough to shut up YouTube or Facebook, not YouTube. Behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and his rulers rule with justice, and a man shall be a refuge from the wind. So when I'm reading Isaiah, that is Assyria and Judah false knowledge of this. Behold, this was just a wandering statement that is, there's the Dead Sea Scrolls. Behold, you women that live at ease, stand up. So the importance of the 1610 data I'm laying out, behold, is the importance of look at your entire congregation, pastors, not your mating patterns. Your mating patterns are broken. We actually have an illegitimate history because the church's mating patterns broke. So with the church's mating patterns broken, at just set forward to be fruitful and multiply broke, you're a mating cult. And you're how can we mate and wiggle your limited control into getting your Bible out of your schools because you're teaching a legend and they're receiving a legend they're not confirming with you and going too quickly. All your children your children, kids, to not end up as a brain dead elder who thought God magically poofed 6,000 years ago your entire life. You needed to handwrite Torah. From when did you want to learn to write? Normal. Oh, we go to school when we're 5 and we're forced to learn to write and we struggle or we have fun. It's not quite the same. Don't get them out of the houses so early. Don't let your kids leave until they're 30. To treat them like teenagers until they're 27, but give them the responsibility of what they have as teenagers at 13. Do that. Because kids aren't dumb. They just don't know how to confirm that mommy and daddy are broke at grade 8. Kids aren't dumb at all. They just don't understand and have never been told it's okay to say something doesn't quite match. Evolution, nothing matches. It evolved at some point, not pinpointed in the fossil record, grade 8 Nels, Magic Poof Christian, Jimmy Swaggart. Fleas evolved amazingly strong hind legs. You're done with evolution at that. When we compare, make it past tense, when we compared Darwin's theory, at some point not pinpointed in the fossil record, oh yeah, you have 6,000 year Earth legend erasing your fossil record. It's erased your fossil record. Your church systems do not have a legitimate fossil record because science doesn't have a legitimate fossil record, because shit in the fossil record evolved to become grade 8 Jimmy Swaggart. Homosexual conundrums for when did we do that to ourselves after World War II? During the 40s, during the 50s, something sparked and the 70s came about, and you had the 90s and the 80s HIV and the Chernobyl, and you didn't think of anything because you were in the Cold War and you're seeing all others now. So during this period of time where you're not opening your eyes to your cults during the 80s, during that era, they were just beginning to understand what they had just accomplished in 1917. What the world had just begun to accomplish, exiting that 1917, just beginning, and you have what you have today 160 years later after Darwin. Just beginning, and you still have in the year 2020 a 6,000 year Earth group of men and women too immature to accept the reality of science, too immature to accept the reality of science, too immature. I have to keep a legend somewhere else to promote a reason to stand there and teach you a false hallucination of I'm just a cult teacher. I have a book I don't understand. Where did it come from? How did it get written down? What was its message? So I will hoist you out of its streams. You're in hell. You're so far gone with 6,000s. Hear now what the Lord is saying. God, Moses, face to face, handwrite Torah. Handwrite Torah, which included the Quran, United States first, at age 5. Begin to become interested in writing by having large picture books of, hey, there's places I can write along and I can draw pictures. I can do it right along. Have it in English, not Arabic. Stop working with all of your multiple translations that are all invalid because you don't know those are the languages in there, but they're really, really special, spiffy, kind of like that Aramaic English piece of Apocrypha I was reading earlier from John 1:18, calling it the Miltha. That's the one. And they're all Apocrypha. They all have little bits and pieces that help you understand these between your false interpretations and your false translations, in between each Greek, Arabic, Aramaic, they're all false. They're all false. All Bibles are false in the year 2020 because they have been deduced incorrectly. We have to take it out of print. Is the year 6,000 years of age according to NASA data? No, it's not. Okay, thanks. That's what these verses meant. Past tense. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, face to face in Egypt, out of Egypt we'll call Ben David. That's what it meant. This month is for you the first of the months. So it only takes one minute to flip to another page and find something that God told you not to fuck with. When you were at war and lay siege to a city for a long time, 160 years, at war with the theory of evolution. This is back in your face at that for keeping the Bible back in your face. What were you thinking at war? 6,000 year Earth legend. What did that mean? When a dead body is found laying in an open country. Okay, all of your churches are entirely dead from pulpit preaching. You've been spewing a legend your entire time. You've never once, shouldn't have been Mormons, but you should have started that way. Kept a legend my entire pulpit performance preaching career. I don't know the words of the Dead Sea Scrolls. No more buying or selling books. We're done, you morons. Besides all this, harems flee to ships. That which had been brought and sold. We need this in your book, your libraries, and your children's handwriting. Lord, hear my prayer. What did that mean when King David wrote this? Think of him in all your ways, and he will smooth your path. So you didn't do that because you kept a 6,000 year deductive legend part with the false Messiah. Let's go to Jesus. And it gets really boring after that. Sometime later, Jesus withdrew. It gets really boring after that. After these words, Jesus went up with, it gets really boring after that, the Acts of the Apostles. So in the first part of my work, O Theophilus, so false authorship, the beginnings of the church. So the beginnings of the church, you began with the book of Acts. Shattered vessel immediately. The only way to read these books, anything Bible, was to figure out when the book was written down and put it into contextual arrangement for how it was intended in the formation of the Bible itself, which wasn't an annually active. There used to be different ways to control these documents, and then none of them are the same. This book is a naughty. I don't know how you control it today, aside from it's Christian or not, as Jesus or not in a good lesson. The Jesus, no. Kids, Jesus, no. Good guy, bad, leave him alone. Not everyone who calls me Lord, Lord, Lord will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only those who dwell in my Father. He's making direct reference to, hey, they don't know God. They don't know over in Israel, face to face, tent of meeting. You guys stared at a golden calf. That is what he's referencing right here. When that day comes, many will say, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? So many will come when now we're at the year's 2020. I'm quite sure a lot of you are saying, what is this guy talking about? Yeah, if anyone actually stumbles and listens to this. However, because this is more authoritative than cult website who took God out of this book. And then fabricated who broke the internet in 99. It's going to swell because God and Moses spoke face to face, and then they said he didn't, and broke the internet. Cast out devils in your name. So you see, there was a much different way to read this book because you broke the internet in 99. And in your name perform many miracles. Yes, now Ben David is explaining within 99, you have a miracle. They took God out of this book over 2 verses you can memorize. And now we're getting it back into your education systems for not knowing what it didn't say. Then I will tell them to their face on YouTube here, face to face. Enough to close Facebook off, kids. Kids, you took God out of your interpretations. That's enough to turn off Facebook. I never knew you. Out of my sight, you and your wicked ways. So this book repleted back. Who wrote it down? Okay, they didn't get it right. And so just back in the face, back. You're no. Back in your face. I require mercy, not sacrifice. So how did you use that line? You kept a cult origin of the cult 6,000 year legend. You have no mercy. What sacrifice did you provide? The sacrifice he gave to you was an impartial, imperfect, incomplete book, kids. The Jesus himself provided you he carried, according to the archical volumes, is something else from Brent after the year 3500 BC, telling you the legitimate history of the earth that you didn't record when you kept it at 6,000 year legend point. The archical volume, it described Jesus himself carrying a massive big thing to Titus, the 4 Gospels. So he collated on the day of Pentecost and went over to Titus, and then that got in the archical volume. And then you said he didn't exist and walked on water, preaching a sermon that didn't happen because he didn't ever preach a sermon, kids. Jesus never wrote, just like me, just like your teachers never taught you math. Why do you struggle at math? Because you go too fast. 12-year-olds should be able to do calculus if they did so. Simple physics, that's 9-year-old stuff. Yet you save it for advanced college. So they don't learn anything in their younger stuff because they're going too quick, not learning the real stuff that they're avoiding later. They get burnt out by the time they get to college. Too much legend, too much myth to sort through. Just running around rampant. Too much legend, too much myth to sort through, kids. But by the time you get done with college, You've been rattled so far. What am I going to do next in my life? Well, I did this to become a lawyer or a doctor, and figure out that great apes didn't grow up to become Jimmy Swagger would be a better thing to have been born for than 500 years. Take care of Jimmy Swagger, pay off the American debt. Churches. Colleges, you're not teaching anything. Mothers, you're not doing much if you're just breeding with whoever. Breeding, you're broken to mate, kids. Broken, 35-year-olds are broken to mate. They mate like 1-year-old prepubescent teenagers. So we have to use these little descriptive analysis of, well, you took the Bible too far, and you erased God from it, and you lost your sexual origination of breeding by missing that Adam and Eve were well endowed and overweight. Albinos with magic poof and glory that poofed off when they ate something. We don't know what they ate, except they ate the grape, which left you in a dark age hangover in the Sacramento line, Catholic Church. And Alcoholics Anonymous, go figure out for yourselves the God of your own understanding. You already did. 12 steps. St. Ignatius, who was he? An author. 12 steps of St. Ignatius. Yeah. The spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius made it into the 12 step. Come up with your own God of your own understanding and make that little inner voice work better. During the 80s, you had a bunch of those books that would make that little voice work better, but the only way to make that little voice work better is to pray to the God of Moses and acknowledge that Jesus is a false Messiah, and that will replete you with a little bit. Then after you figure that one out and you write your retirement and you close your churches, I'll let you breed. You really need to rethink breeding, kids. Breeding is a lot of work. It's kind of messy. And it's a curse. It's a curse according with the Bible. Leviticus 12 and Leviticus 15. If you ever have a child, you're going to keep track of its birth record through its menurtial pattern of all of its ancestry. So the daughter I'm selecting from the 1610 data that gets us out of hell with, who reached menarche at 12 years of age, just like your modern dad told you. You miss 130 years of age when Eve first became pregnant and first became fertile because she was in Pangea with people serving her and was fat before that. Ate pretty well. They were scared of her. Umbilical cord tied to her and Adam so she couldn't get away. She was his overweight concubine. Back in the day when Adam and Lola flew and she left him for New Zealand and you got her over there for a little bit, she poofed off her magic poof glory and she just stayed there albino and didn't breed. Breeding. She was his concubine. Eve did not become fertile and she ate the forbidden fruit. She was an overweight concubine attached to him with an umbilical cord kiss. The modern ancestry of a great ape grew up to become homosexual, unionized in the United States. Good job keeping Darwin. Past 1859 and not learning any Earth history was They buried Adam by burning his body. So grab your self-help piece of Apocrypha because you burned your body in it. To read more. In order to be caught at 3500 BC, I picked up all of the Apocrypha for you. It's quite a lot. It's kind of what I had to do because in order to confirm the Russian Bible I distributed in the former USSR turned out to be an invalid piece of Apocrypha. I'm sorry, Russia, for distributing a bad book in your. I thought I was doing the right thing back in the day when I brought the Bible to you, and it was in order to erase the Baptists were moronic stupids. I'm sorry, and didn't understand the Cold War era. I'm sorry. In order to pick up at the Dead Sea Scrolls, I'm sorry, Christians, but you're in hell. This Dead Sea Scroll left you out there with beginning at Genesis without reference to the Dead Sea Scrolls. But if someone is supposed to be a Christian, has money enough to live well, and sees a brother in need and won't help him, how can God's love be with him? Good question. If you don't see God face to face, we're Christian, we'll do something for. It's not a question. How can God's love be with you if you took God out of the book and said it meant something else, and then you preach this fucking thing? This isn't immoral. I found the Pope from GotQuestions.org who took God out of his book. When Saul's son, and the Pope didn't know God was in his book, and they didn't know either, and he erased all earth history in between. Saul's son Jonathan had a son lame in both feet, so he erased all earth history in both evolution, 1859 forward from 1910. 1907, you're dead. He says to himself, I shall never be shaken, but you were. 1907, you followed a legend of great apes. You're going to find out the earth is older than 6,000 years of age. Up to then, practically everyone is stupid as Sir Isaac Newton. Serious. And now you're $22 trillion in debt, American stupids. You're so stupid. You took a legend so far from Sir Isaac Newton, and you didn't keep him in your book. Should better make sure we're correct here. The Dead Sea Scrolls, you lost, Christians. You lost, Christians. You kept it invalid. Now we need to collapse your church. Job, with water, he wipes the clouds and brings the fire of the cloud. From the Targum of Job, he speaks and they listen to him. Why do you not know the Targums? And proceeds with their works. You took God out of the book. God is in the Targums. He appoints them over all. So I'll teach you maybe in a few years, either for striking or for benefiting the earth, either for famine or shortage, or for something good, to be honest. Until you start handwriting Torah with your children, I can't teach you anything. You're all immoral and inepts. The false education, false church, you're all immoral and inepts. Book without end from beginning to end, book without end, beginning from end to beginning. that fat. It's something on both sides. It's a juggle match. Let's see where God's not at. Better sit humbly with those in need. I'll sit with you because you don't see God. When Exodus 33:11, you don't have right to Torah, and you have nothing. In the second year, in the 20th day of the second month. You see how precise those numbers are? This was what the Lord showed me, a face-to-face word for precision. We're breaking through a little break wrong to the Dead Sea Scrolls in a couple days. Wherefore Q377 told you so. Welcome to the OTO. You are so empty. Empty. The weirdest 6,000 year Earth cult. The weirdest 6,000 year Earth cult. Weirdest 6,000. Pulpit preaching. Weirdest. It's not legitimate teaching. It is why you meet on Sundays. And it is why you don't have the Bible in your schools. Pulpit preaching. Because your kids don't know what the Bible actually said and contained. Yes, we teach them. We teach them your legend of how you interpreted the words of Jesus. Jesus himself didn't permit you to do that. Take just what he spoke. Let's go see some of the things he said. Not his, we don't know where he moved them around at. This is Russian Apocrypha. Can't read it, but it told you so. It was published in 1992, the year I distributed it. And so it's a valid Bible. I distributed it. However, it contained a legend. And this legend is easy to see in English. It's because of the numerical coding was invalid in the naming convention, and it didn't contain much. So back where it didn't contain anything on the Dead Sea Scrolls warning that the United States retained a 6,000-year legend on the cult website, got questions.cultville, we had in Paul's sermon, but he whom Raft Vip Fa no corruption. So where Saul changed his name to Paul, and you got it here in 1602. But he whom WHOME, God, RAIFED, VP, FAWE, no corruption. Great oops. Through the patience of God to Fihu at this time is wretched Katafa, that he might be Ift and Iftar of him which is faith of Iphas, Jesus, the epistle of the Apostle Saul to the Galatians. The Saul, an apostle, not of men, neither by man, but of Iphas, Christ, the God of the Father, who God of Moses isn't here. There's no big fat warning. They didn't know what they were talking about. Back then in 1602, I'll just put back over here. And oops, so we continue to go through the New English Bible, Puff on the Pope from GotQuestions.cultville. Everything in print counted. 1970 Apocrypha was the culprit. God's in that one, but he's not in your brains. Here's the Zohar. This is description of me taking the Bible away from you Christians. So you don't need it. You need to let me, in a couple of years, I'll get around it. Once we get through the Hasidic precision of assembly of the Tenta meeting for yourself to see what it actually looked like. Moses' magic walkie-talkie box thing, he had to do some special things to make it work. True statement. Where you had the two cherubim things, and then you got rid of it. When the king hears of any nation or people of intent on plundering whatever belongs to, I read that one, I think. A liturgical group. Possibly liturgical. So it's questioning it. All of your literature, all of your stuff with invalid date ranges and everything having to do with everything that you question, it's because you're being taught a legend in church. Your Bible is invalid, and you question, so your school knows you're wrong, and they're teaching you something different elsewhere, and you're getting all of your everything's questioning. You're getting everything just humped up on you. Take this out of print, puff on it, say God is in the Dead Sea Scrolls, but it's not in your brains because you're in hell and you're not. So that's what happened to Israel when they were in Auschwitz and forgot. They received the Dead Sea Scrolls right after World War II. Christianity, who received the nuclear bomb. Good job, Chernobyl. Yeah, you didn't keep very good track of each other that well. Yeah. Left in Hell didn't keep track of each other very well. But 1986 was a very, very important year and provided 1996 data, which is all of the rises and birth effects in Washington State. And there's a sufficient amount to just plunder your entire Bible and to look at what happened to you because you kept the 6,000-year legend. So we have to take it all away from you and explain to you that because you kept a 6,000-year legend for 6,000 years and refused to remedy it. Science remedied it for you in your publication of news and turned the Bible into shame on you science, which is kind of swell. Shame on you, doctors. Shame on you for taking the Bible and not using it properly. We kept it in a legend format with it only told us about these incorrect inaccuracies. Incorrect and inaccuracies, nothing to do with the Dead Sea Scrolls. Rendering everything in print invalid, having to do with that in the year 2020. Your brain's invalid. You in hell, you just invalid. With 6,000-year legend over there and kept a 6,000-year legend book. Church facilities invalid. Pope invalid. Everyone's invalid because James Escher and because of 6,000-year earth use of Bible. When did it become a readily thing to keep out of your school systems because God's in it? You took it out of your school systems because it wasn't taught according with all of your doctrines for your various Methodist doctrine, Mormon doctrine. So it's not in your both school systems teaching the same, both grew up from grade 8. Obvious is that you're both combating in various cosmogony, cosmological methods of brain dead stupidity. I'm looking for anything, these words that told me something other than what the word said. By falsely interpreting the Bible for a different use than what it told you to have it for, which was to handwrite it with your children and say, I shouldn't have had my child, Jimmy Swaggart, having taken God out of the Bible. You have no earth history because of that one. Then your earth history is, hey, look, what happened to me after I, in 2005 and 2010, did the same thing two more times. Well, I'm using that record to give the idiot who also did it in a church over there. He puffed everyone out of. There's nothing in the Bible, but don't take God out of it, which he did. So I'm from Washington State, going through all of my doctors concerned on data that you guys aren't smart enough to utilize 9,200-year-old fossil remain. That's an obvious. Why are they bleeding? How old are the mountains? Well, they're old. Can you trust geology? Best we can do. It's all estimates. Yes, you can. Were there 7 supercontinents? Science? Maybe. I don't know. That's a sacred number. Does it matter? No. In 500 years, will we know a lot more? Yes. Done. Okay. 140 trillion times the amount of water at the far edges of the space. That's in the Bible. We're done. And science, you needed to take all your data that you then collated around. We don't know what we're talking about. Also, we found it. Wow, we found it. Yeah, doctor found it. We found it by building this really cool machine. Cool stuff. We evolved from apes. Science, you're all homosexual weirdos. You're all Neolithic, little can't figure out your mating. Getting your dick wet is a way to get a girl pregnant. When my daughter, I didn't think that would happen, is what. And then, so I'm a 43-year-old grandfather gathering an nurture data from 1610 to collapse the Bible and your cult churches into 60,000-year legend full of foolishness. It's not acceptable to teach your children a legend. It's only acceptable to teach your children you did not know the Bible. You did not understand it could be read in a day. You did not understand it contained a legend. You did not understand every single Bible in print was some form of apocrypha. Guys, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Guys, children. It's not a big deal to pick up at the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's a lot of fun. Just a lot of money and a lot of work. It took many years. But what I found out by having done that is your church systems are nothing in betweens. From kept a legend of a Messiah into legend of false Messiah. Hard to discriminate what he did and didn't do unless we go back into his words, because you kept all of what he didn't do as, hey, God loved you. God was very, very specific. When he said, I'll talk to you on my magic walkie-talkie box thingy and the 2 cherubim, he did. Imagine what that would have been like there. As Moses, you there? Cherubim light up. You have to be a little bit more creative, imaginative than the pseudoscience of James Ussher. So he counted back on his fingers, and he thought that this legend told him something. It didn't. He didn't read the prophecies that well. Let's go to what God didn't do. Moses did write down for you to understand that James Ussher and your Pope are dead. Then Cain lay with his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. Cain was then building a city. So you have the book of Enoch, a city which he named Enoch after his son. So where is that city? Enoch begot Irad, Irad begot Mahajua, Mahajua begot Methuselah, Methuselah begot Lamech. Who's in the discussion of some of those Lamech. You needed the book of Jasher. You needed the book of Luke. In order to stand the literature of the book of Job, you needed all of the Apocrypha to see that it was a legend. and how to get rich and naked and bare they go out with their work. So you went out with naked and bare Christians. Lord, hear my prayer. So begging, a good name smells sweeter than the finest ointment, and the day of death is better than the day of birth. Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiastes. That's about one of your best to just what happened to me? Take care of my what happened to me. Let's make some. Sorry, that's what's happening. I'm looking at the long book. I gotta get this done. Close that church. Take the Bible away from you guys. That's what this all is. That's why I'm recording myself taking this away from religion, because you kept a legend, guys. You kept a really bad 6,000 year earth legend, a really immoral, ignorant, foolish, immature as the legend you kept of the Bible. You kept the Bible as a 6,000 year earth legend, and that you accepted anything your teachers told you that they thought they learned from that book. What they did not do was figure out the construction of that book. Who wrote which line? Your teachers are cult teachers because of that one simple scientific fact of that book. That your cult teachers don't know who wrote which line, and they don't know how to discern from the bullshit around it that told them some other legend. Yeah, so when you have 600,000 Bible verses answered, questions answered, you have 600,000 pieces of blips of that are just false. So let's make lunch. Thanks for hanging out. God and Moses, 600 blips that are all just false. 600,000 wows, Baptists, you are most immoral ignorance with the Bible and print, guys. Sorry. Love you. And Ben David.